What's good, fam? Welcome back to SJU Brawl. I'm Anthony Ferrara.
And I'm Anthony Paventa.
And I'm Oscar Cifuentes.
And this is SJU Brawl! Oh my god, it has been a couple of weeks since you last saw us with WWE Hell in a Cell. It was a SmackDown pay-per-view and a lot has happened. First thing we want to get right out of the way, Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, they are now best friends.
Oh, so yeah, supposedly best friends. I'm still a little skeptical on how it's going to go, because it wasn't too long ago that Kevin Owens and Chris Jericho were best friends, and look how that ended up.
Exactly, and that ended up being a main event match at WrestleMania.
Move all that to the side. Just enjoy the fact that we have a tag team that has legitimate talent and could be real competition on the blue brand to maybe take the SmackDown Tag Team Championships later on. I mean, well, obviously we'll see how long they last, but like I said, just enjoy the talent that they will use together as a dynamic duo.
Owens and Zayn versus the new American Alpha with Shelton Benjamin and Chad Gable. That would be a great match to see.
Yeah,
that would be amazing.
Well, we'll see that in the future, but for now, we took a look at last week. It was them two against Nakamura and Orton.
Exactly.
And they were able to get the win. I was fairly impressed with how that match went.
Right, and also too, we have another big pay-per-view, speaking of Nakamura, not in the main event title match again, but we do have Jinder Mahal, the WWE Champion, going against Brock Lesnar, the Universal Champion at Survivor Series.
He challenges Brock Lesnar, the Beast Incarnate, at Survivor Series, champion versus champion. You think what do you think Brock's gonna say, or what do you think Paul's gonna say about that?
Paul's just gonna brush it aside.
Yeah, Paul's not gonna take this seriously, to be quite honest.
They can throw the Singh brothers into the match, and it'll still be unfair because it's Brock Lesnar. So,
to be honest, like, is Brock just like bored at this point? Like,
he has to be.
Do we have to like keep putting these matches together to the point where Jinder's a champion? Yeah, well, Brock is still gonna destroy him for a good 10 minutes.
Oh, ha ha!
I mean, it should be a good match, but I mean, Brock is still Brock, and Jinder is still, you know, that guy that he can work to an extent. He could talk a little on the mic, but when it comes to his ability, it's all about what the Singh brothers do to help him win these matches.
It's true, it's true.
Until then, the match is pretty much garbage, but it won't be because Paul Heyman is an amazing speaker. Oh, yeah. So we'll see what happens. Well, since we got SmackDown out of the way and we just watched Raw, we came straight off the pay-per-view after watching TLC and watching Raw Talk. We want to now do our minute segment, which is How'd It Go? So we're going to start off first with the match between Asuka and Emma. Low-key good match. Wasn't expecting it to go that long. Thought it was going to be a squash.
Yeah, I honestly thought Asuka was just going to walk in, destroy Emma, kick and punch her a few times, maybe a suplex, and it was going to be over. But no, it went on for, what was it, like a good 20-minute match?
I mean,
not 20.
No, not 20,
like
but
14 or 13 minutes.
Yeah. I mean, Emma
held
her own, honestly.
Yeah. She was able to like compete with Asuka.
I said this on my radio show here on this campus, that I figured that this match would go 5 minutes, not so much as a squash, but just so that Asuka doesn't show her best against someone like Emma. Maybe she wants to show her arsenal to the fullest extent against someone like Alexa Bliss, Sasha Banks, Nia Jax, someone who is in the upper echelon of the women's division.
I was going to say, it's not going to be too long before she's in the title picture. So.
Well, they have to build somebody up besides Alexa Bliss. And hey, they ain't even giving it to Nia. Nia is supposed to be the female equivalent to Braun Strowman, but hey, you know, I guess you don't give every monster a title.
Yeah,
but
that's true.
Overall good match. Wasn't expecting it to go as long, but they definitely held their own. A good starting match for Asuka, and a good pay-per-view match start for Emma.
And a great debut for Asuka to come from.
And then we have the Cruiserweight match.
Enzo Amore versus Kalisto Cruiserweight Championship.
There's not much really to say. All I hope is that Enzo gets his own plates this time on the belt.
Yes,
because he did not have
These cruiserweights are giving me such agita and just distress that I really just cannot stand when it's purple all around, the purple ropes, the purple belt. You know what? God bless the fact that Enzo Amore is a part of this division because he is in fact saving it. Go look up Vince Russo on Twitter. Vince Russo is a big time Enzo mark. He loves him, and he loves the fact that he's saving that division.
And while you're at that, go look up Jim Cornette's rants on Vince Russo. You'll have a hell of a time. Absolutely. But can Enzo wrestle? Can Enzo wrestle? No. Can he speak? Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
He's not Cedric Alexander, but trust me, if he practices and he has more time, he will get up there.
Yeah.
Next, we have the I guess you should say unknown, from the start match. Kind of just thrown in there last minute. We're supposed to have Finn Balor versus Bray Wyatt. Instead, we got Finn Balor versus AJ Styles.
Two former leaders of the Bullet Club in Japan.
Too sweet to watch.
Oh yeah,
And
these men had never faced each other before. Not even on the independent circuit. Not in PWG. Not in New Japan. Not even in Ring of Honor.
Exactly. It's amazing. Not even TNA, despite the fact that Finn Balor never went to TNA.
Well, yeah.
But still, amazing match. Of course, Finn Balor was going to go over. They are going to build Finn Balor up some point to capture the Universal title again.
Not to mention it was a Raw pay-per-view, so
Exactly.
they're not going to let anybody from SmackDown ruin the show.
Right.
So.
But it does leave the question of what's going to go on in the future with the Bullet Club or Balor Club.
if you will.
Because if they can be able to do this without the cease and desist affecting people inside WWE, we'll see what goes on.
Well, Balor Club, we can honestly forget about Balor Club because Balor Club is just the
fan base,
the fan base.
Pretty much.
Bullet Club, the only way anything Bullet Club-esque is stepping foot in this company is if somebody were to tell Vince McMahon to go take a year-long vacation and then step up. Because when the real Bullet Club guys were outside of Raw and doing their little shtick out there with all the fans, they weren't happy about that. They actually fired a producer, Jimmy Jacobs.
Really?
Was a producer. I think he was on the creative team also. He took a selfie with them and he got fired the next day. I believe. Go look.
I do actually remember that.
Yeah, I remember the Twitter picture that they had up. But you gotta give credit to this. The best moment of that match was the ending, the too sweet moment between Balor and Styles.
Well, I don't think Vince likes anything to do with that hat right there. Whatever.
Well, you know what?
What that hat
represents. You can't cease and desist this, man. You can't cease and desist that.
And you can't see John Cena either, but that's another story. Finally, we are going to go to the main event, and we're going to spend a couple of minutes on this. We have had...
This was a train wreck and a half.
Absolutely.
A very good one.
It was a good one.
Human rubble all over the place.
This automatically beats that fatal four-way at SummerSlam.
Get this for the people that didn't see the pay-per-view. The Shield, Dean Ambrose, Seth Rollins, Roman Reigns, back together once again for the first time in 3 years, taking on The Miz, Cesaro, and Sheamus,
Kane, and Braun Strowman.
Kane, though, the wild card.
Oh, yes.
But here's an even more wild card. Roman Reigns, along with a few other wrestlers, which is the wider reason we had Finn Balor versus AJ Styles, Roman Reigns was also sick. Apparently, the rumors are saying that it's because of meningitis.
There's a lot of
few wrestlers have been out. Bray Wyatt, Bo Dallas, Roman Reigns, even the announcer JoJo. So who do we throw in the mix instead of Roman Reigns? Kurt Angle. It is amazing, and he held his own. That man was looking really good,
and he rocked that Shield uniform nothing.
He looked awesome. He didn't look like he lost a beat at all. We're very happy for him. If you see this, probably won't. If you see this, we are very happy that you're still on top. 48 years old. He's still wrestling. He's still kicking butt.
I'm telling you.
The match started off really good. The first thing that they
circled the ring. And they had steel chairs.
They did a surprise. They did a surprise element though. Seth Rollins voluntarily threw himself into the ring while Dean and Kurt took chairs and smacked everybody on the back with it. Kane's back looked like somebody lit the fire off on his back, and he got second-degree burns. It was crazy.
It was interesting seeing how Kane took the brunt of all those chair shots.
Right.
It just goes to show how loyal and just how much pride he takes in just working these matches. And it's like he probably told them backstage, "Listen, I'll take the chair shots. Don't worry about you guys. I'll take all the chair shots you need."
Which was amazing though, because they had so many spots that they set up. They had Dean and Seth jumping off of ladders onto Braun Strowman and Kane on tables. They had
awesome.
Dean and Seth jumping off the tops of the turnbuckles, and Kane and Braun Strowman throwing them into the steps, throwing them into barricades, doing all these different things, and even having Dean go through multiple tables. He went through 2.
Honestly, this seemed more like just Dean, Seth, and Kerr against Kane and Braun Strowman. Because
Right.
literally, you barely saw Miz, Cesaro, and Sheamus.
Well, they were
do
trying
anything.
to protect them more. They're,
Right.
they're the only champions.
You see Kurt and them just battering them with ladders more than you actually saw them do it.
Unfortunately, Kurt got hurt in the match and he was taken out. But fortunately, he did come back. I think we counted it. It was about 17 minutes. 17 minutes into the match. It must have gone on for at least an hour. And he came back with his own music, and he came back and he kicked butt. In the meantime of all this, Braun Strowman and Kane are having some difficulties going back and forth.
Because of an accidental hit to the back, Kane to Braun Strowman, and they just went at it. And just all of a sudden, Kane's choke slamming Braun Strowman through the floor near the announce table, and he just drops, what was it, 10 chairs that were hanging.
John Cena versus Wade Barrett, number 2. Just shooting all these chairs just on top.
And Strowman still got up.
Strowman gets
That was
up.
awesome,
They do the numbers game on Braun Strowman. They throw him into a garbage truck. You think he's gonna come back out? No, they just okay, goodbye. They push him in. They send the truck off.
I'm telling you this though. The reason why I think they pulled that off was because they want to make sure Braun Strowman is as separate from all those guys as possible.
That is true.
He is his own entity. He is the monster among men. What do you think? He's gonna team up with those guys? No. He's an individual on that roster. So. Seeing him go at it with Kane was pretty big, and don't be surprised if that turned into a little feud there heading into Survivor Series.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's probably gonna be a match at Survivor Series: Kane versus Braun Strowman.
If they
the
keep
big
Kane
red
around.
monster against the monster among men.
Well, it's the same thing that happened with Braun Strowman versus the Big Show. But Braun Strowman's going to go over as usual because they want to build him up, and hopefully WrestleMania they give him some huge, restitution for all the crap that he goes through.
Yeah,
This match was meant to protect Braun Strowman, The Miz, Cesaro, and Sheamus, and you could even say Seth and Dean to an extent.
Right.
They needed to be shown that they could be strong, but with The Miz, Cesaro, and Sheamus, and even Braun Strowman, they could still be defeated, but they can still put on their best moves.
Exactly.
And still, look strong at the same time.
Well, like it was that we saw, so Shield did go over.
Especially with that triple power bomb they did with Kurt Angle.
Yeah.
You saw the crowd go nuts.
We
over
went
that.
nuts too.
We
were
went
going crazy.
We went ballistic. They did that triple power bomb, and Kurt got the win for the Shield.
Yep.
And even though with last minute changes, the pay-per-view overall was pretty good. Probably the best that they've done in a while.
So congratulations, Raw. You finally did better than SmackDown.
Congratulations, WWE. You actually beat the competition with the NBA.
I'll tell you this too. What I noticed about Kurt tonight was that for a first time in a long time, he was having fun out there. He was enjoying doing what he loves to do, because there was a time when Kurt wasn't happy. Especially where he was wrestling back in TNA and working for Dixie Carter and all that other garbage out there.
I don't think anybody was happy working for Dixie Carter.
No one. So this really was a night that Kurt, I think, will remember for a long time, because he was having fun and he was able to see these young wrestlers develop their careers here with him, helping them, and we'll see where it goes from here for Kurt Angle. I wore my ECW shirt because
and it was practically like ECW.
he turned up the extreme tonight. Kurt Angle did.
All I'm gonna say, Dean Ambrose is a lost ECW original.
Oh yeah.
On that note, we are going to end it right here. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure you tune in. Hopefully the next time will be before Survivor Series.
Oh, if definitely be before Survivor Series.
Okay. Yeah. Well then, until then, I'm Anthony Ferrara.
I'm Anthony Paventa.
I'm Oscar Cifuentes.
And this has been episode 2 of season 2 of SJU Brawl!